That should work there. So I'm taking a look at something called functions, right? Right, and we've been using this all the time. So all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give you a set of x values, right? Let's say 0, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to ask you to find a set of y values using a function. And that function allows me to go from here to here, right? So let's say the function is f of x. F of x is equal to, let's start real easy, x plus 1. What does this mean? This means what? For every x value, you're adding 1 to it, right? And these are all your x values here. So what we're going to do first, right? Here's how I'm going to write it. I'm going to write something called f of 0. What you'll notice here at f of 0 is that there's no x again, right? I took off the x and I put 0. Okay with that? So I'm going to do the same thing here. Take off the x and put 0 and then add the 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. I'll do the same thing here. F of 1, right? F of 1, I'm taking off x and I'm putting 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Same thing here. F of 2, 2 plus 1, that's 3. Here, f of 3, that's 3 plus 1, which is 4. Right? All of these values have names, right? All these values here, 0, 1, 2, 3. We call these values your domain. Right? All these values here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We call all these values their range. Right? Next thing I want to learn about is something called ordered pairs. Ordered pairs are the 0 and whatever is mapped to. So the x value and what is mapped to. This value here is called the image of 0. This value is the image of 1. This value is the image of 2. That's it. All right. So the ordered pair here will be 1, 2. The ordered pair here will be 2, 3. And the last ordered pair will be 3, 4. That's okay. And one last thing. For every x value, how many y values it have? 1 alone, eh? 1x to 1y, 1x to 1y. So this is called the type of mapping. This is called a 1-to-1 mapping. This is called 1x to 1y. It could also be a, if I had 1x going to 2 values, it's called 1 to many. Right? So we just focusing on this type of mapping for now. Okay, so this here is the intro into functions, right? So head up functions and catch us some now. This is the most important. This is a very important concept here, yeah? Whatever in the bracket here replaces x. Okay? Whatever you have in the bracket here will replace x all the time. Don't forget that. As it becomes a little bit harder, there's something important to remember. Ready again? So I'm gonna give you a function again, and we do the same things, find the domain, the range, type of mapping, all the other pairs. All right? Try this one now. 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1, do the same thing again. Same domain again, right? Finish ready? Finish? All right, it's working. What do you know? All right, so let's see what you got, right? So this will be 2 by 0 minus 1. I got minus 1. 2 by 1 minus 1. I got 1. 2 by 2 minus 1. That's 3. 2 by 3 minus 1. That's 5. So my domain, all these values here. And my range are all the values here. Ordered pairs. 0 minus 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5. Mapping 1, 2, 1. Easy, right? Right, so what we need to learn from this as well, right? If I ask you to define a function, what you would say? In your own words, what you would say a function is? What do you think this is? Any guess? Any guess? None? Any guess? All right, so I want to give you a small definition, right? So a function, right? A function allows us to map x and y values, right? You'll ever try to draw a line before? Like if I said draw y is equal to 2x plus 1, it might look like that, right? So what a function does, it allows you to map x and y values. Okay? These are like your y values, these are x values. Right? So a function gives you a relationship between x and y values. All right? So write that down. A function gives a link or a relationship or a relationship between two sets of values. Between two sets of values. Right? Put in bracket x and y. Put in bracket x and y. A function can only a function can only be sorry, there you go. A function can only okay. A function can only have a one-to-one mapping or a many-to-one mapping. Or a many-to-one mapping. Right? Just to remind you, this is a one-to-one mapping. And now to draw many-to-one mapping, right? This is many values going to one. Okay? So these are the two types of mappings that define a function. Only these. It can't be any others, right? It can't be many to many or one to many. These are the only two that define a function. Right? So just draw it in so you have an idea of what those functions look like. All right, so let's try some examples, right? Online, you're okay there? Benaya, you're listening? Online? Ashish, are you there? Yeah, all right, nice. So again, so this is a function, right? So sometimes, let's take a look at this example here. Sometimes you might see a function looking like this. Let's say we have 5x minus 1. So if f of x is 5x minus 1, and I'm giving you a next function too. Let's say it's g of x, and g of x is x squared. All right? Let's see if we could find a few things. Let's see if we could find f of 1. How are we doing that? Which one we using? F of x, you want to get f of 1. So are we using f of x or g of x? We're using the one with f, right? So what will be f of 1? 5 by 1 minus 1. Right? So that'll be 5 minus 1, which is 4. Nice. What about if I said what is g of 2? What will that be? That'll be using this one now, right? Because the g tells you which function you're using. So that'll be 2 squared, which is 4. All right? Suppose I ask for f of 1 plus g of 2. What you'll do? And you found this already? F of 1 is, and g of 2 is. So the answer is 8. All right? You okay with that? I'm gonna make it hard just now. I'm giving you one easy one. Try this a minute. Try for me f of 2 minus g of 1. Online, all I want to do is message the answer here. But just make sure that we get. F of 2 minus g of 1. Let's message the answer online for f of 2 minus g of 1. I have one answer so far. 2. I'll try again back. Once again. Abigail. I'll try again back. I'll try again. Easy. All right, nice. Right, so f of 2, we could work out f of 2. Start doing it separately, right? 5 by 2 minus 1, that's 9. And then we can work out g of 1. G of 1 is 1 squared. So 9 minus 1 is 8. Very good. Right? 9 minus 1 is 8. Nice. I want to combine them now. And tell me how you think we're going to do this, right? How do you think we're going to work out something like this? What does this mean actually? Let's go with the first one. F of G. I'm going to give it a brackets. This is how it will look. What do you think that means? F of G of 2. Anybody can try. Solve for G of 2 first, right? Two ways you can do it. For now, I want you to find for G of 2 first. So I'm putting up brackets here. What this bracket tells me is to do this first. Right? Find G of 2, which we found here. So G of 2 is really 2 squared, so that's 4. Found that already. Now we can find f of 4. And that easy. F of 4 is f of 4 is 5 by 4 minus 1. 19. That's okay. So whatever here, we do it first. Right? I'm gonna give you one to try. Try that. And then try the other way around. And we don't make it too big. Find those two. Right? Same principle, right? Right, online, I did get some answers from some people. Ashish, that was good. Matthias, that was good. Malia, that was good. Tanisha, that was good. Janaya, that was good. If we didn't hear your name, I didn't get your answer. Right, Sharon and Vinaya, I didn't get your answers. Sorry? Two of them? Right, you'll notice that I did G of 2 right here. 2 squared. Right, so f of g of one. So I put in a bracket here. That bracket tells me I need to find g of one first. So to find g of one, I'm going back to g of x. That'll be 1 squared. So that'll be now f of 1. So I'm going back to f. So that'll be 5 by 1 minus 1, which is 4. Right? I'm doing the same thing again. I'm putting the brackets around f of 1, and I'm finding f of 1 first. So f of 1, coming back here now, and I'm finding f of 1. That's 5 by 1 minus 1. Sorry. 5 minus 1 is 4. So that's g of 4. How do I get g of 4? I'm going back to g of x, and I'm writing 4 squared, which is 6. All right? Don't skip any steps, right? So this is the first way to work it out. I'm going to show you a second way in a little while, a second method, right? Right, the one that's a little bit more challenging. Try this one here. That was two there. Well settled, that's Jan 2014. No, no, you got the first one, GL4. No. So you got to have. So the first thing that we want to have here is G of 4. Right? So what do we take X with? 4. So someone to write here now. 3 by 4 minus. What's that? 10. That's all. Oh. So the first part is 10. Nice. But the next part now. What is h of G of 4? Until already good about what G of 4. So I can put brackets here because I know what G of 4 is, right? And G of 4 is how much? 10, right? So if I take off G of 4, I got 10. So what do I have to find now? H of 10. So what is h of 10? Which function are you using to find h of 10? How do I get h of 10? Divided by 10 and then minus 3. And the answer is minus 2. You okay with that? So that's how you find h of g. Any questions online? You all got that? Minus 2. Right, good job, finish up. Good job, Matthias. Ready for the longer way now? To do this? So they have a longer technique that you can use to find these things, right? Head up composite function. Actually, take us 2 minutes. Take us 2 minutes and then we'll look at composite function. So there's a longer technique that you use to move this thing down. Okay, so your next small heading is something called composite function. I'll use these two as an example to demonstrate, right? Right, so write a small thing. Composite functions are functions of functions. Functions of functions. Composite functions are functions of functions. Composite functions are functions of functions. For example, f of g of x. For example, f of g of x is g of x into f of x. So we're substituting g of x into f of x. Or g of f of x is f of x into g of x. So let's see what all that means, right? Right, so f of g of x means g going into f. G of f means f going into g. All right, so we want to see how we working with that, right? What does all that mean? So the example I am using back the original thing that we have there. I'm using f of x is 5x minus 1, and I'm using g of x as x squared. So the first thing I want us to find is f of g of x. Ready? Watch this here. All right, let's take a look at this. So what is f of g of x? So I showed you a little while ago how to find f of g of 2 and all those things, right? But how do we find it if we have an x here? Right? All you have to do is this. The same thing as before. Put a bracket around g of x. Right? Put a bracket around the second term. Then what you have to do is you're no longer writing g of x. You're going to write what g of x is. G of x is x squared. Right? Look, we have it here, right? So g of x is x squared. So take off g of x and put x squared. I'll look it up. Next step, I want you to find f of x squared. So what that means now is that x squared has to go into f. Or wherever I have x, I put in squared now. Right? So f of x squared means 5 by x squared minus 1. So your final answer is 5x squared minus 1. That's it. Right? It has to have, because I asked you to find f of g of x, it must have an x here. No, you wouldn't get a whole number. You'll get some with an x. Right? If you have g of f of g of something like 1 or 2, then you'll get a whole number. Okay? That's okay? So step 1, put the bracket around g of x. Step 2, replace what is g of x. Step 3, put it into f of x and simplify. All right, any questions online? Look at the steps, this bracket here is important, right? Put the bracket around g, then put what is g, then find f of that. Right, we're going to try next one right next to it one time. We're going to find a g of f of x. Right, so you mean notice here that we put g in f. Now we're going down to F and G. All right. So what's the first step? The first step here, oh, copy this one down and then we'll do it together. Copy it down and then we'll do part two together. Ready? So watch this here. How do we find G of, come on. How do we find G of F of X? What's the first step? Put the bracket around the F of X. Second step, what is F of X? F of X is 5x minus 1. That's okay? What am I doing with 5x minus 1? 5x minus 1 has to go into G. What is G? Right? G is x squared. So now, what is this x? This x here is 5x minus 1. So really and truly is 5x minus 1 squared. That's okay? Remember, this thing here, this 5x minus 1 is what replacing the x here in x squared. So if I had 4, and it would have been 4 squared. If I had 9, it would have been 9 squared, right? But now I have 5x minus 1. So it has to be 5x minus 1 squared. That's okay? Again, these don't give you a whole number. They'll give you a function, right? Right? If I ask for this, I'm just giving you a small example. If I ask for g of f of 1, I can use this here. So that'll be 5 by 1 minus 1 squared. 4 squared is 16. Right? So I'll get the same answer. Right? But I'm just showing you, when you see g of f of x, you must have something with x here. All right? Copy it down. Let's try a few and still get the hang of it. All right, try to work this one out. Try it. Right, so what does this mean? What does f of g of x mean? Step one, put the bracket around g of x. Step two, writing was g of x. G of x is x over 2. Right? What am I going to do with this x over 2? This x over 2, whatever you have here, have to replace this. So that'll be 2 by x over 2 plus 1. These two will cancel, so I'll get x plus 1 as my final answer. Right? Whatever you have here replaces that in there. All right? Let's try this one here. Come on. Find g of f. Anybody got this one? Got to get it? Try this next one here. Right? First step is what? First step is to put a bracket around f of x. Right? Second step is what? To writing with f of x, right? F of x is 2x plus 1. What's the next step? The next step is after you g of x, and wherever I have x, I'm replacing it with 2x plus 1. So I'm no longer writing x, right? I'm going to write this here. 2x plus 1 over 2. That's it. You can stop right here. Please don't cancel 2's there. Right? Leave it just like that. That's okay? No, you can leave it just like that. If you simplify it, it will have to be 2x on 2 plus 1 on 2, and you end up with a fraction. You get already one now. You can leave it just like that. Any questions there online? Right? So remember your first step, bracket around the second term, replace the second term, and then wherever you have x in the first term, remove it and write what you have here. Okay? So I had x here, remove it, and put 2x plus 1. Right? We're going again. I give you a fraction this time, right? Right? Find f of g of x. And then find f of g of 1. Follow the steps. Online, all I want you to do is message what is f of g of 1. Right, so the bracket goes around g of x. Right, once the bracket goes around g of x, you're writing back f. And whatever inside the bracket here, g of x, are writing what g of x is. This is saying f of 3x plus 2. So I need to find where's f and wherever I have x. What am I going to write? I am going to write 3x plus 2. Right? Wherever I have x. This example, I have 2x. So I have to write 3x plus 2 here, plus 1, of course. And underneath, I have to write 3x plus 2 minus 3. So I have to write it here and here. This will give me 3x plus 3. This will give me 3x minus 4. Right? Same steps, right? Bracket, replace it, substitute it. And now I ask for f of g of 1. So all you have to do is just put 1 in here. So that'll be 3 by 1 plus 3 all over 3 by 1 minus. That's 6 over 2, which is 3. Right, let's try the next one. Right, so in the bracket, replace, substitute. Right, those are your 3 general steps, right? First, you put in bracket. Whatever you put in bracket around, you replace it. And when you replace it, you substitute in the next one. Right, so remember those 3 things, right? Bracket, replace, substitute. Try this one. Try this, but ignore this, right? Ignore part 2. Right, part 1 and part 3 alone. Try both parts there, part 1 and part 3. Simplify as far as it could in part 3. 2 minutes again. Right, hopefully you have f of 7 by now, right? F of 7 is what? 5 by 7 minus 4 all over 3. So that is 31 on 3. Something like that. Okay. Next, f of g of x. Let's see how that will look, right? So first thing, I put in a bracket around g of x. So that'll be f of x squared plus 1. Now, wherever I have x in f of x, I'm going to replace it with that. So I'm taking off this x squared here, and I'm going to replace it with x squared minus 1. So I'll be left with 5 open brackets, x squared plus 1 minus 4 all over 3. Right, you have to simplify as far as possible, so you have to multiply. That'll be 5x squared minus 5 minus 4 all over 3. So I got 5x squared minus 9 over 3. You got that? You have to simplify as far down, right? Online and problems? Let's try one more now. Let's try one more. Try this one here. Hold on. That's June 2011. Right? Try June 2011. Get through this one. Look how they said it. They said simplest form, right? They were to go to the simplest form. Part two, right? So there's the intro into functions. Next day we're gonna look at the inverse. And we didn't do, or remind me before I move to inverse, right? We have to do g squared and f squared. All right. Okay, we had a few minutes again. All right, let's see what you got. So we asked for g of a half. So that'll be a half minus 2 over 3. I got minus 3 on 2. I got minus a half. Altogether, minus a half. Minus 3 on 2, that 3 will cancel. Yeah, I think I get minus half. You got that? Yeah, everybody get that? Minus a half. Next part, g of f of x. So g of f of x. So the bracket goes around f of x. What is f of x? F of x is 6x plus 8. Now, I'm going to take 6x plus 8 and replace this x here. So that'll be 6x plus 8 minus 2 all over 3. I got 6x minus, 6x plus 6 all over 3. Right? You can simplify further. You can divide both by 3. 3 into this 1, 3 into this 2, 3 into this 2. So I got 2x plus 2. Right? That's your final line, 2x plus 2. All right? All right, nice. So we'll step away. We have a Kahoot to do. Anyway, we'll do that stuff as a revision next thing. Right? So we'll do that Kahoot next thing. Right? So we're halfway into functions. We have to find inverse and we have to find the upper flip and